Hi everyone, Emma here. I have a peyote bracelet I want to show you. I did the unboxing of these 50-gram bags of Miyuki Delicas, and I was kind of questioning this blue here. I felt like some of the colors were not consistent and was wondering, how they would look in a bracelet and um, if you would notice the color difference. So I went ahead and I got this started. I will show you how to do this pattern. And let me see if we can maybe adjust the lighting a bit. I don't want it too bright. It is a bit shiny because we've got the silver design through it. Actually, let's adjust this a bit here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this on the screen. Let me enlarge this. So yeah, you probably can see some slight variations. Let me grab a tool to point these out. So that bead right there is a little lighter. Those are a little lighter. There's the odd one, but you know what? It kind of, you really have to look. This one here is really a lot lighter. And again, that's, you can barely see that. So it's not too bad. I'm just looking in the screen if I can find any. So again, not too bad. So I'm actually enjoying working with these, and the color with the silver design has turned out super amazing. Just to let you know, this is my first time ever doing a peyote design. I've done some just straight strips of peyote in a bracelet, and that's about it. So I'm super excited. I saw an image on Pinterest and kind of wrote down what I thought the numbers would be for the design and of the different beads. And then when I realized, when I went to put the second row in, or the third row really, I was like, this makes no sense. So I went back and checked the image. It was actually a bead loom image. So everything was side by side and not staggered like peyote. So I thought, rather than give up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this anyway. So I just figured it out. So because this is a diamond design and you need one bead to be in the center, that means you need odd count peyote. That's another thing I had no idea how to do. So I went ahead and tried it anyway, and I figured it out. So before I started this video, I decided to go back to Jill Wiseman's site on YouTube, her channel, and just review some of the peyote steps from her, and I'll definitely put the link to her channel. If you're wanting to do odd count peyote, she is amazing. She shows a couple of different ways to approach it. So I'll show you my way, which is what she shows in her first demonstration. And she shows it with like 5 beads. So there's no confusing what she's doing. It's very straightforward. So I definitely recommend it. So let's take a look. I'll show you as best I can on how to do this diamond pattern. It's so simple. So you have to determine your main color and then your pattern color, so the diamond. Once you have that, then you get started. You start out with 2 rows. Now what I did for the 2 rows, instead of starting with the straight diamond here, I actually added the leftover row if you had another diamond next to it here. And I did that on purpose because I'm going to use one of these slide clasps to put it through, and I didn't want the slide clasp to go over my diamond design. So I wanted it to go through these beads here. Now you can leave it all one color if you want. It's up to you how you want to do that. And when we get to the end of this, we will go through how to put the clasp on. It's a little bit tricky. I'm going to have to do a little more research. I just did a dry run of it, and I don't like the way it's going on, but I'll show you that at the end, and we'll figure it out. So let's go to this part. So the length of this is going to depend on your wrist size. So I just keep, I get to a certain point, it looks like it's about ready. I go like this and I turn it. So I feel we need to put 2 more diamonds on there. And then by the time we add the clasp, and because these clasps have a loop, you're going to have to put a jump ring and some type of closure or lobster claw, something like that. You could put chain, so you could put this, make this even shorter if you're going to do an extender chain, anything like that. So let's get started. We're going to do 2 diamonds. Hopefully that's enough to explain what I'm doing and give you an idea so you could try it yourself. Super easy. So let's move these guys out of the way. We don't need them right now. And I'm going to move these beads up so that you can see the background is going to be the mat, so you can see, kind of see what I'm doing. So let me hang on to things this way. So I started at the top for your sake because down here is a bit different. So this is odd count peyote. When you get to the bottom here, it's not going to be as clear. And you know what? I think I'm going to enlarge this even more. So sorry for my giant fingers. When we get to the bottom, it's a little bit tricky. So I thought we'd start at the top, and as well, we're right at the end of a diamond here. So this middle bead is your end of your diamond and your beginning. So your middle bead joins both diamonds. So you see how there's 2 on each side, top and bottom of the single. So just try and think about it that way. And if you look up here, when we start to build our diamond, you have 1 blue bead, then 2 blue beads, then 3. So you expand in that way till you get to 5 here, 2, 4, 5, yeah. And then you start to go smaller again. So let's get started. It will make more sense when I show you. So right now, this area here is the same as this area here. So we're going to continue with the blue beads. So grab the first one, is blue. And you're going to go through this next one in line. So you're just kind of filling the slots, the empty slots. So you're coming out of this bead here, and you're going to put a bead in between these 2. So it's going to be blue. So let's go in through here. Okay, so now we're going to start our next diamond going this way. So like I said, this is your middle bead that's shared between the 2 diamonds. So now we need 2 silvers next to each other. This is going to be the beginning of the next one. So this next one is silver. I'm going to go through this silver bead like that. And you're going to pick up another silver. And this is the next side of your diamond. Like that. And you could turn your work around. I know some people turn it like this because it's easier to go up, but I prefer to keep this hand holding it the same way all the time rather than flipping all the time. But it's just whatever works for you. As you start doing it, you'll find a comfortable position and a way of approaching it. So now we're going to put some blues in here. Go through this one. Okay, we're going to pick up a blue. This is where it's different. This is kind of important for you to pay attention to. And this is the one that Jill Wiseman has a few ways of approaching this area here. So you're coming out of this bead here, right here, but you have nowhere to go with your next blue bead, but you want it to sit next to this one and below that one. So what you're going to do is you put your bead on, then you're going to go up through this one next to it at the bottom. Okay, bring your needle right through, pull everything up like that. And this is going to happen all the time. Just take it and nudge it into the right position. Then pull it tight like that. Nice and sitting there. Okay, so now we need our thread to come back out so that it can go through the bottom of this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the left to this next bead on the second row, the one that's touching the one you're coming out of. So when you come up this way, you could actually go through both of them at the same time, so bring your needle at an angle. But I find that it's really tight and it's just as easy to go through them individually because there's a little space here. So let's bring our thread through this bead like that. And I always put my finger on it. It helps the thread stay in position and it doesn't knot. So now we need to bring our thread. We want it to come out of this bead here. So we want to cross over to this bead, go down this bead. When we do that and pull it tight, the thread will disappear. So we're going to go down this one like this. And this one I find easier to get through both. So I'll just show you. It went, so you're going on an angle through that one and that one. And this is where you want to be. Okay. So the next time around, I'll show you, I will do them individually, each bead. So there, it just disappeared. Now we're going to come up through this bead and just that one, like that. And now we're ready for our next bead. And you can just kind of move it where it needs to be. So pick up a blue, go through the bead above it, that. So now, if you look at the opposite side here, the trick that I used when I was doing this last night is I need the silvers to all touch each other like a line. So if you look, this next bead that's going to go in there is going to touch this silver. So that means you need a silver. I mean, that's just a little weird trick, but if you just look at the opposite side, it will tell you what color you need. So let's put a silver there. Like that. So now you need a blue here because this is this area here. So blue. Just like that. And then we're going to pick up a silver because we do opposite on the top and bottom. And go through the next one. So with peyote, you're always filling in these little spaces. And Jill calls them, these ones here, the sticking out beads. The sticky outies, I think she calls them. It's like, okay, mommy, I'm going to do the sticky outie beads. So that's tight. And grab another blue. So this top part is easy because you can see exactly where you need to be. And it's just a matter of popping it in there. So now we need a silver right in here. You can see the line's going to go up that way. So put a silver. The last Try not to tangle it like I just did. Okay, so now this area here, we need some blues. So let's grab a blue on this side of the blue and watch that your thread doesn't get hooked like that. If it does, just pop it out. Grab another blue bead and go through here like that. So now you need to continue this line here. So this is another way you can look. Take your needle and go like this. Cover the silvers. Then you know, okay, my next one's a silver. And you know, it may seem very simple to say it like that, but you know what? These people pay for these designs. So, and like if you might need to write it out. So you might need row 1, you know, 4 of A, 1 of B, A being the main color, B being the secondary color, and do it that way. And initially that's what I did last night when I was looking at the image on Pinterest. I wrote it out for myself, and then I quickly realized it was a bead loom design, so it didn't work. But it actually, writing it out like that made my brain look at where the beads were set up. So we are down at the bottom again, so we need to do this turn that's a bit confusing. So I have a blue bead on. We are going to go up through this one next to where we want to put that blue bead. Bring our needle all the way through and pop that into place and tighten it like that. So now we are going to go into the area next to it on the second row like that, and just through that. See here? Okay, and I'll just see if I can show you. There's the thread. Watch what happens. You pull that and it disappears. Let me adjust this. I feel like it's not in focus. So it might be just because it's so teeny tiny. Okay, so we are coming out of this bead here. We want to come down this one next to it. So we're just going to come down that one, and we'll do the next bead separately so you have an idea of what I'm doing. Like that. Pull that tight, and when I say tight, I just mean secure. You know, it's not something you have to ream on, but you just want everything to sit properly. So now you're coming out of this bead here. You want to come out of this bead. So you're going to go over and down. Like that, through, just like that. And push your needle through. And pull your thread through. There you are. You're ready to go up this bead here. I'm trying to do this looking at the camera. It doesn't work. There, like that. So now you're ready to go and continue. So what's happening in this area? Take your needle, take a look. Oh, okay, there's my diamond pattern. I need a silver in this slot here. So pick up a silver, go through the next bead above it, like that, and pull it into place. Now the rest are all going to be blue till we get to this top one. So this should be straightforward. We're just going to go through the next bead, placing that blue bead in the spot. Going. Like that. Oh, so sometimes this happens if, like, I wasn't really paying attention. My needle went through all the beads. Not a big deal, just come back out. I actually did that on one where it went through one and I didn't notice it till I got around to the next row. So I did a little maneuver because I didn't want to take everything out. So I ended up adding a bead and then coming up around and back up. But that's a more intricate movement that you probably don't need to know right now. So there, it just went through that top one again. I think part of it is my needle's bent. So it's automatically going through the next one. So now if you look at your diamond pattern, put your needle there, you need a silver bead there. That's my trick of the day. There's some lovely, what do they call that design that you have on like socks and stuff, where it's this design, but then there's diamonds of different colors through here. So that's going to be my next one. I'm going to do a different one with maybe some pink. And then just noticing something here. I see a strand of thread. I'll have to take a look at that later. It'll be like the Wizard of Oz. Don't look at the wizard. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Okay, this was a mistake, actually. I need a silver bead. So you can see, even if you put it in, you realize quickly you need a silver bead in that position to continue this line. So let's pop that out. And I pop it out by just going through both beads, like that. So it'll just slide off when I pull my thread. Just like that. Grab a silver. Go through. Like that. Ta-da! Now it's all going to be blue till we get to the end. So this is very simple. Let me get some blue beads over here so I'm not reaching. This is the part where I fast forward. So you guys can fast forward too if you got it. But I'm going to continue to show you, because then we're going to do the opposite side of this. Okay, so we're at the bottom. And just to remind you, so we put our silver bead on. We're going to go up through the next bottom bead. Pull everything in. Pop that guy into position. Pull your thread. Go to the next bead on the second row from the bottom up through. Then go to the right, back through this second row silver bead, like that. Then on an angle here, go through this blue bead next to it. And that brings you to the bottom. And you want to be in position in through here to add your next bead. Okay, so now for your next bead is a blue. So this is the final peak of the diamond in the inside blue. So this one's a bit, I find at that point I was kind of wondering where I needed to be. But if you look at your previous design, you have 2 silvers and a blue. So that's always going to be, if you look at this and remember, that's always going to be what you need to see at the bottom and the top of the diamonds. So if you don't have a design, this is your first one, just remember your diamond is always going to have 2 of the secondary color for the base and 1 just above of the primary color. So hopefully that makes sense to you. I find with doing stuff like this, I need little tricks to remind me. I do this while I'm watching TV, so if I'm not paying attention, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? And if I start looking at a pattern, my wife's like, are you watching TV or are you beading? I thought we were watching TV together. I'm like, yes, I'm watching. I'm watching with my ears. Okay, so top of the diamond, we need another silver. Like that. Just like that. So the rest are all going to be blue. So we get to the bottom. Ta-da. Okay, so like I said, you always have to have 2 silver at the bottom, so we need a silver here. Grab one. We're going to go up through the bead to the left of where our thread is. Pull that, put that in position, just snug it up. Then we're going to go to the left to the next bead, which is a silver, and it's on the second row. So you go up through the bottom of the bead. So your thread is going to go from this bead to that bead, and you're not going to see it. So that's why we're doing it on an angle, because the beads are on an angle anyway. They're not straight up and down. Now we're going to go back over to the right from the top of the second row of this bead here. Just like that, and pull it through. There. Now we're going to go over on an angle to the left to this bottom bead here. And that's the second bead in case you're wondering. So now we're going to go up through this final bead, and we are ready to start our row again. So now we need, if we were to pretend there's more beads there for our diamond, we need a silver bead there. If you look at it this way, if you're not sure, if this doesn't make sense because there's nothing here to guide, take a look. If you were to separate this in half using this blue bead as your middle guide, and you look, you want a mirror image of the other. So the mirror image would be a silver bead. So another trick. And I'll tell you, I'm just doing this because, I mean, how did I figure out this design without a pattern? It was just a matter of saying, okay, so I need the opposite of what I just had, and, you know, worked out all these tricks in my head. Okay, so the rest are all going to be blue till we get to that second to last row. So these are straightforward. We're just adding beads into the little holes. This is fun, fun, fun with peyote. This feels so luxurious in your hands. It's so much fun to play with. You will love it. If you don't be intimidated by peyote at all, it is so much fun. You can do so many incredible things. I'll tell you how. So as I look at this on an angle, I can see the differences in the color. You can kind of see a bit of light colors, but you know, it kind of goes with this pattern, so it's not too big a deal. I'll tell you how amazing this peyote, you know, flat peyote is. I show my wife when I do a bracelet, I show it to her after I'm done, and I say, look what I made. She's usually watching NASCAR. She's like, yeah, that's really nice. That's about all I get out of her. I know it's a good bracelet. I woke her up last night to show her. Now, she was reading her book in bed, and I turned the light on and showed her. She's like, wow, that's really amazing. How did you do that? And it's like, okay, that's a hit. If I get more than just, that's nice. Okay, so we need to do the opposite here. So we need, if you bring your needle across to create a diamond, you need a silver bead. Like that. And the next ones are just going to be blue. So just go through and add those blue. Okay, so now we need a silver. Like that. And we need a blue for the bottom here. We are going to go. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do it without explaining it. If you need to review this part, I'll do my best to keep my hands out of the way. But if you need to review this, just rewind and go over it. If it's still not clear, by all means, ask questions in the comments. I will do my best to answer and help you out. Again, I really want as many people as I can get to do peyote. It's so much fun. So much fun. Okay, and through here, and up here. And a blue. So I definitely find the galvanized. These silver are galvanized. They were kind of expensive. I was hoping to find some silver that weren't galvanized so that they'd be cheaper because I'm cheap. But anyway, they are spectacular. They are definitely worth. Now this bead, I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of angled a bit. Let me see if you can see it on this side. It's not bad enough. It should be okay. But sometimes, that's what I was going to say, these beads here aren't as consistent as the galvanized ones. Okay, so I need a silver. Like that. So we are almost done the first diamond. And continue with the blue. We need another blue. So we'll see if that blue one is a problem when we go to put the bead next to it. It should be fine. Silver. And this is a silver as well. Like that. There. Pick up a bead. Go to the next bead. Put it in place. Snug it up. Go to the second row. Next bead. Off to the side. Up through this one. Then over to these guys. Like that. And then up. And we grab a blue bead. Blue bead. And now we need a silver to close our diamond shape. Like that. You should see my mat. It's all like turned on an angle. I think it's because I keep pulling my work towards me. I did the best I could to set up the camera so that wouldn't be an issue, but it doesn't matter what you do, you continue to do that. So let's go down here with some blue beads. Okay, so this is a reminder how we started out. We have a single silver bead. It's going to be a combined bead for our triangles. So we're going to start our next triangle, which means we need a silver bead here and a silver bead there. So above and below. Silver here, like that, and then a silver below that. Then just gonna put our blue beads in here. Oh, and we're at the bottom, so we're gonna go, let's see if I can go through the two. Yeah, see, I find this one, it's not worth, I just bent my needle trying to do it, so I'm just gonna go through one at a time. Put that in place. And go through the next one. Like that. And I'm going to extend my thread. I had it folded over quite a bit so that you guys wouldn't have to watch me pull a bunch of thread. And that's the other thing, I had to add 2 lengths of thread through this. So one of the tricks I do is I will pull 2 arm wingspans of thread, and then I will roll up one wingspan around 2 fingers and then twist it, and because it's like firm, it stays together. So then I can continue my, once I get done on this side with my thread, I can go back to this side and work the bracelet this way. I mean, you just have to flip it and then all of a sudden you're working it the correct way. So not a big deal. Yeah, so there, then you have 2 wingspans, you're not pulling a whole bunch of thread through and getting knots and stuff. But I did use 3 wingspans for this so far, and this, I don't know if it'll do another diamond. It might. Let me take a look where it is on my wrist. Actually, I think it's done. I was thinking we'd have to do 2 more. So that is done. Dunsky. Okay, so this is the part that I did a dry run. Let's go back out here so you can see what's happening. So let me see. I have a 5 3/4 inch wrist, and let me see what this ended up being. So 6 inches, just slightly under 6 inches. I was thinking of putting some 50 no's on the end here, just to go into these clasps. So the videos showed just sliding it over the clasp, but here's what the clasp looks like. See how, so if you had one that wasn't peyote, because the beads are offset, it would grab a hold of the one row of beads and then slide around the other. But what's happening is it wants to go over the 2 rows because one of the sets of beads is offset. Let's show you what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to work through this in my head and with you guys. So I went ahead, here's what it looked like. I went ahead, I opened the other side, and I opened the slot to see if I could get my bracelet in there. So I kind of only want to go through 1 bead here. Slide that in. It seems to be going in. It is, I see what it's doing is it's pulling that second bead in, which I kind of am a little leery of that happening because I feel like it's going to break it at some point. You know what? I think I'm just going to leave it. Seems to be. So the other thing is this clasp is a bit long. You see how it's extended beyond, but we're just going to leave it. So let's push this down like that. And I will thread that later. and push this down. You see what I mean? Let's just slide it over a bit. So that's another thing to consider is your clasp. You might want to go a bit bigger, but that'll change your whole design. So you have to be aware of that. I don't see it being that big an issue as long as you do odd count peyote and you have one line that's the center line and you go off of that. So maybe the angle of your diamond will be slightly different, it might be larger. So that should be fine. I mean, you're not going to really see the clasp. So let's thread this through. So I've got my stop bead on this side here. Actually, we'll do the other side since we've already got the thread on there. So I'm just going to weave through, create a knot. So we are already up through that one. Let's go through a few more. So let's go through there like that. Unbend my needle. Pull through like that. Okay, so now to create a knot, and it's hard to see this. Let me enlarge this again. You want to go around one of the threads, but it's hard to do, kind of pry your needle up and over. So I'm going to go down through and just pay attention to where I am and where this loop is, because I'm going to put my thread and needle through there. So now I'm going to come on the opposite end of that. So there's, you can see there. So the thread is going across this way. So this is going to cross over that thread. Put through like that and go through here. And pull that into a knot, and it's going to slide right into that bead. You're not going to see it, and we're going to weave this through as well. There's really no need to do multiple knots. You can. I have done 2 knots for everything else, but looking at it now, it doesn't really need it. This is really not structural, so, and I'm just going to put my needle through on an angle through a couple of beads, and we are done for this, like that. And if your knot is showing, it will hide through there. So let's clip this. Like that. Take this thread off. And we'll get the other side. And we will hide this piece in here. So let's put this on. So I hope that this is helpful. I mean, I love it. Okay, so we're coming out of that bottom bead. I'm going to go to the next bead, but on an angle. Actually, I'm just going to go through the first one. It's a little difficult, like that. Like that. Go through the next bead off to the side. And do that a few times. If you can't get your needle through a few at a time, do it one at a time, which I'll do because it seems to be a little tight there. Okay, I'm going to extend this a bit so we can do our knot there. And let's go down here through there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go over, across from that, through the back. And you might take a bit of poking around to find where you need to be. I'm way too far there. And still too far. Let me go over one here. Get close. There we go. Like that. and I'm actually already through the loop to create the knot. So pull that through like that, and then hide this thread, go through a couple of beads on an angle like that, go through one more, see if it'll go through. There we go, just like that. We're ready to go. Cut this one off. Okay. So let's open this up so you can see what I have. So we have the one side on there. So let's take this clasp and open this up. So this one, let's just open it a bit. See if we can get in here to open this one. We might have to pop it open this way. Oh, the beads are flying everywhere. Okay, there we've got it. And I'm just using my flat nose, and I'm going in here, and because it's wedged, it will open it up. And I'll just do that on both sides. Let's see if we can get it in there. These are good clasps. They're hard to open. I was expecting them to be a little cheaper made. The nerve of them making some good stuff. They're super cheap. I got a ton of them for like $1. It's nutty. Some of the stuff, it amazes me, is so cheap, and then other stuff is expensive. So let's take this and slide. Slide this guy. So they're called sliders if you're looking for them on tube clasp sliders. You're looking for them on okay, this needs to be open more. It's getting hooked on the beads. Okay, so you see how I'm getting stuck at that spot because these are offset. If this was a straight, like a loom weave, the beads would be side by side. So you would have a whole row that were together you could slide this on without expanding it. But we had to expand it for this. I don't know. I might have to open it some more. And try that. Okay, I've got it. But you can see how it's pulling that bead inside now. You have a bit of a hole. I'm not going to worry about it for this bracelet, but I'm definitely going to do some research. I feel like there's got to be a better way to this. I'm going to try and open it some more. Let's see if that did it. Yep, that did it, I think. Man, oh man, it's tight. I mean, I kind of want it tight, but I don't want it to bust my beads. There. Just like that. Okay, we're good. So it's not going anywhere. Oh my god. It looks so beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, let's mash this down. And the other side. Oh, lovely. Just beautiful. Okay, so let's figure out maybe a magnetic clasp. Let's take a look what I have. The reason I say magnetic because I feel like it's the least amount of distance between, because I kind of want this a bit snug. There's the clasps. And we're going to get some jump rings. Okay. So I like these. These are my new favorites. And I just ordered some and got some more. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I want some small, I'm pretty sure I have smaller jump rings. I do. I want some small jump rings to go on there. Maybe these here, the right size. Those look good. Okay. These are really strong. They're lovely. You have to do some searching for these because they're expensive, in my opinion. I would never pay. Well, kind of my watermark for a magnetic clasp or a clasp of any sort is 50 cents. Definitely the nicer ones are in the $1 and $2 range. But I think for magnetic clasps, that's way too much. So you might want to do a search. If you have problems, just let me know. I'll do my best to update and answer your questions about that and give you the links. I don't put all the links just because that stuff is so much work and sometimes nobody asks stuff. And then other times, everything I use, everything I touch, people are like, where'd you get those? Where'd you get those? I need the link now. And I know the urgency. I've been there, so don't feel bad. I'll do my best. This is being shot before my surgery, so when I have my surgery, just because I only have the use of one hand, it's hard to do anything, even typing, because if I type with one hand, I have to hold my tablet with the other, that kind of thing. I'm gonna have to see if I can prop up my tablet somehow. That was an issue the last time. There. This is just the right size jump ring. You could use a bigger one if you have a bigger wrist, but I kind of don't want it to be too big. And these are lovely, nice and strong. Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. That's amazing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Look at what's happening. The magnets are sticking to the clasp. But once it's on, let me put it on and show you what it's going to be like. Let's get those guys. So that's what it looks. Oh, look, it's still doing it. I might have to put a smaller jump ring. I don't think it's going to matter. I'm not going to notice that. It still has some room to move. So I also looked at a video from Stephanie from Bronze Pony. She had a bracelet design. You might want to try that, where it's something like this design, only in the middle, she puts a bicone in there, in each one, or every other, something like that. So, but one of the things that surprised me that she did say is if you're doing one of these, to make it snug, because she said that this stretches after a while, which makes sense. You know, this fire line does stretch. So there you go. There's this lovely bracelet. I hope you enjoyed that. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Just give you an idea what this looks like that. Ta-da. There you go.